Hi guys! So I'm doing my poetry project on the poem Woodchucks by Maxine Kumin. And I know that first off, the poem's title might sound pretty weird because it's called Woodchucks, but as you hear it, it will definitely sound a lot different, and it has a different meaning other than just the animal. And I think that's one of the most interesting things about it, and I really think you guys will enjoy it. So, here's my reading. Gassing the woodchucks didn't turn out right. The knockout bomb from the feed and grain exchange was featured as merciful, quick at the bone, and the case we had against them was airtight. Both exits shoehorned shut with pudding stone, but they had a sub-sub basement out of range. Next morning they turned up again, no worse for the cyanide than we for our cigarettes and state store scotch, all of us up to scratch. They brought down the marigolds as a matter of course, and then took over the vegetable patch, nipping the broccoli shoots, beheading the carrots. The food from our mouths, I said, righteously thrilling to feel of the 22, the bullets' neat noses. I, a lapsed pacifist, fallen from grace, puffed with the Darwinian pieties for killing, now drew a bead on the little woodchuck's face. He died down in the ever-bearing roses. 10 minutes later I dropped the mother. She flip-flopped in the air as she fell, her needle teeth still hooked in a leaf of early Swiss chard. Another baby next. Oh, 1, 2, 3. The murderer inside me rose up. The Hawkeye killer came on stage forthwith. There's one chuck left, old wily fellow. He keeps me cocked and ready, day after day after day. All night I hunt his humped-up form. I dream I sight along the barrel in my sleep. If only they'd consented to die, unseen, gassed underground the quiet Nazi way. So, this poem, if you look at it, you'll really find that it's not exactly about a farmer protecting her garden from woodchucks. I actually found it to be about Nazi Germany, which it mentions at the end, and the woodchucks actually stood for the Jews, and the farmer actually stood for a Nazi soldier. And like the farmer, the soldier thought or had a reason that he was doing the right thing in the beginning, that these woodchucks were taking food out of him and his family's mouths, and they needed to die. So he shoots the first one, but then gets almost a bloodlust, where he has to kill them, he has to kill all of them, even if any of them didn't do anything. Like, he hunts for these woodchucks just to kill them all. Just like the Nazis did with the Jews. They just tried to kill them all. And I thought that was, like, so shocking, because when you have to read it again to actually see that that's what this is about. And I think that what Kumin is trying to say here is that even, like here it says, the I, a lapsed pacifist fallen from grace, is even like the most pacifist people can be corrupted to evil. Like even the most like upstanding Germans at the time were turned to evil. And it was pretty shocking at the time, and it's still shocking today. And one of the things that was really interesting about Kumin was that she was a Jew, and she lived from 1925 to 2014. And she made it where she could explain, maybe to herself and to others, maybe that they had to do it. The Germans had to do it in their own minds. They were convinced. And Kumin, at the time, around 1970s, a lot of like movements were going on, like the environmental movement, the feminist movement, a ton of movements at the time. And Kumin herself was an animal rights activist, which I think that's why she made them phrased as woodchucks. And number one, it could fight for humane treatment of animals, but as well be about how the Nazis came and killed the Jews. And I think that's really one of the most twisting parts of this story, is she talks about if only they'd all consented to die unseen, gassed underground the quiet Nazi way. It's really shocking after you think that this story is about woodchucks, and then it turns out to be about gassing Jews. And I really think that the theme of this story or poem, is that even the quietest, even the most moral people can be corrupted and turn to evil, which is why we have to be really careful and remind ourselves what's really good and what's not. So, that is my teaching of Woodchucks by Maxine Kumin, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And maybe read it again. You might find that it's a lot more in depth than you thought. And have a good day.